Wonder if there's anything good on right now.
Which is why we see that you should never kick a bear, no matter how many fish you can eat. In other news, the royalty have asked Royal House to learn more about what the citizens of Terra Libra and Christothel are thinking about the crisis. We were fortunate enough to be allowed to tag along, and are now able to share these interviews with you.
With the wide disparity in reactions among the citizens of Roas and the very diverse ideas being propped up by the prominent voices, there's a lot of confusion out there. That is why we have been asked by Princess Abby and Sir Vaughn to talk to the citizens of our nations and learn about their thoughts on the crisis. Let's see what they are doing to prepare.
What are your thoughts on the crisis?
It's all really scary. Honestly, I just can't stand watching the news anymore. I was getting really freaked out, but since I stopped watching so much news, I'm feeling more at peace about things.
What do you think the crisis is?
At first I thought it was another plague like last year, but then I started to wonder if the real crisis is just that everyone is freaking out. I'm not sure though. There have been a lot of bad things happening. It's honestly really confusing. I don't actually know what to think.
What are you doing to prepare for the crisis?
I've been learning some first aid skills. I figure it's probably a good idea for me to know how to treat wounds or illnesses, just in case we can't get medical care.
How are you preparing for the crisis?
Well, I'm just trying not to panic. I mean, this is the scariest thing I've ever been through. If we live through this, it'll be a miracle.
Hey, can I ask you guys a question?
If you're from the Shadowlands, we're not interested.
Okay.
What do you think about the crisis?
Well, I haven't seen anything in the last few months that hasn't happened before. Sure, there have been accidents and illnesses and disasters, but those things have always been around. We just seem to be trying to find one cause for anything bad that happens. I think we just keep preparing and keep our wits about us. That's smart no matter what the situation.
How have you been preparing for the crisis?
I've been really trying to study and pray and follow inspiration to know what to do. So far, I've been inspired to start a community garden with my neighbors. We're all getting to know each other really well and growing food together. It's already making a difference in the feeling of our neighborhood.
What do you think is causing the crisis?
It's aliens, isn't it obvious? They're coming, they're going to take us!
Not this guy again.
Aliens!
I hear you've been protesting here all week. What made you get involved in this cause?
Well, I just couldn't stay silent. I think we all have a responsibility here. We have to pay attention to these abuses of power. Staying silent is the same as supporting it. And there has obviously been abuses of power on the part of the Terra Libra and Christothel royalty where the Shadowlands is concerned.
You know, from all the reports we are hearing, this crisis actually originated in Christothel. Terra Libra is just covering up for them, like always. You can always count on those two to be acting together. The Great Wall of Virtue covering up all the atrocities in Euroas.
Just to clarify, you're saying that Christothel is responsible for the suffering in the Shadowlands, and Terra Libra is covering it up?
Of course, I mean, don't get me wrong, Terra Libra is just as much to blame. Have you heard about the tragedy of Koldar's past? No, of course not. You only hear that he's such a villain.
Yeah, the way they tell it, he's such a bad guy. You never hear about how Terra Libra has set him up and framed him. He's a victim in all this. It's time we stood up to the powers that be and championed their victims.
What signs are you seeing that the crisis is caused by Christothel?
So obvious. The bunnies. I mean, how long have we been hearing about the Christothelian bunnies disappearing? It was the first sign of the crisis.
Yeah, and I heard that Queen Krista has figured out how to harness whatever happened to them and has unleashed it on the rest of us, all to get back at the Huntress.
You gotta be kidding me.
She's so
Bunnies?
misunderstood. Why can't they just let her be?
Good golly.
Queen Krista, tell the truth!
It's all about power. Power is the only thing that matters in a crisis. Power to fight for what you need. Power to claim what's yours. Power is your greatest protection. And Gelt has join me and find your own power. After all, kings may come and kings may go, but one thing remains, and that is me.
Man, I knew they were messed up, but dude, he freaks me out.
Actually, it's all about freedom. The harsh sun would bind you and keep you prisoner. To find your freedom, you must embrace the shadows. For in the shadows, we are truly free. In the shadows, no one can stop you. Let them run in fear, because we are everywhere. Our freedom is born of the shadows, and the shadows will be the tomb of our prey. Step out of the harsh light of rules and standards, and step into the silent shadows of freedom. The shadows are everywhere, and so am I.
Whoa, she gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Hi, I'm Amy, the Crown Princess from 2021.
And I'm Jared, the Royal Master Knight from 2021. We're here today with HIA, the Heroic Youth Alumni Association.
That was so fun.
Today's actually pretty awesome because we are shooting our first HIA commercial, and we're bringing you along for the ride.
HIA is a great group of great people who have left the training ground but still enjoy doing great things and serving others.
Did you know that after being a youth leader, there are still tons of volunteer opportunities? You can help out behind the scenes, help sew costumes, work with technology and social media, or even be a cast member and be in videos like this one.
All you have to do is go to the website and click on the Adult Volunteers link to get started. Then Lady Amory will contact you. Everybody point to Lady Amory!
And on that note, we hope you have fun and enjoy our new commercial.
You were made for this.
Welcome back to Hack Your Life. Today we are talking with an expert panel on preparation for our times. I'd like to introduce them to you. First, we have Clayton, a famous blogger and weapons enthusiast who's been collecting various weapons for the last 14 years. He has quite a collection.
Yeah.
Second, we have Emma, renowned culinary scholar, educator, and author of Can You Eat That? Her food storage is world famous as one of the largest anywhere. And third, we have Crown Princess Abby of Christothel and Royal Master Knight Vaughn of Terra Libra. They are currently tasked with leading their nations in preparations. Let's start things off with a straightforward question. What are you doing currently to prepare yourself? Let's hear from Clayton first.
Well, all the preparations in the world, they're not going to help you if you're dead. So I've been focusing heavily on my weapon skills. So I've got various different types of weapons. I've got maces, spears, bows, crossbows, swords, sabers. I even have a catapult.
A catapult? Where do you keep that stashed?
Well, anyways, so I don't know if you heard this yet, but I've already collected over 145 different types of swords. In fact, I've named all of them, and they all have their own unique, specific purpose.
Wow, that is some collection. How about you, Emma? How are you preparing?
As I have taught in my many seminars and classes, which you can find on my website, I have been storing food using long-term preservation techniques handed down from my great-grandmother and her grandmother before her. I currently have over 15 years of food stored up in case of emergencies.
15 years? Wow. Do you really think we need that much?
Have you seen how much my brother eats?
No, food's not going to help protect you. Not when the ravenous hordes are descending upon your home. What are you planning to do? Fight them off with a pickle?
What are you gonna do when there's no food around? Eat a sword?
No, of course not. I'm using my swords at your house. I'm helping myself to food.
That's
You wanna go?
Whoa, calm down. We're just trying to learn from each other here. I'd like to hear what Crown Princess Abby and Royal Master Knight Vaughn have to say.
Having weapons to protect yourself is important, as is having food stored up for emergencies. But you have to be prepared here, as well as here, if you want to truly be prepared.
For example, in the case of Clayton and Emma, wouldn't it be so much better to work together to help each other through a crisis? If one of you could provide food and water, and the other could provide weapons and protection, just think of how much better off you would be in an emergency.
That reminds me of a scripture. See that you love one another, cease to be covetous, learn to impart one to another as the gospel requires. To me, this really means that it is our responsibility to work together. If we focus on what God has told us to do, He will make up the difference where we are lacking.
Preparing your mind and soul first can put you in a state where you can anticipate some issues and roll with the unexpected, focusing on helping others along the way. This is truly what it means to be prepared.
Food for thought and a roadmap for success. We'll dive deeper on what it means to truly be prepared when we come back from this message from our
I think that was Doctrine and Covenants 88-123. I think I'll invite Emma over to study that. She can bring some pickles.